Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Simon with topdockpro, and today we're doing a 1% detail on this 360 Grady White Express. This is a monster of a boat, 14-foot beam. We're going to be jumping into sanding, buffing, polishing, the whole ceramic coating process. I'm going to take you guys right through it, and let's go ahead and get started. Today we're going to be getting started with dry sanding. So this is kind of new for the channel. We're going to be doing this today. A lot different than wet sanding, but let's go ahead and talk what we got today. We have the Rubez Bigfoot LHR 15, so this is a random orbital polisher, so you'll either want to have the 15 or the 21. The 21's a little bit of a bigger version. Then we've got our Mirka interface pad. This is going to give us our cushion between the backing plate and our thin Abranet pad, which is necessary because this is going to kind of take the beating for when you're tilting the pad, and it's going to reduce the amount of pigtails that you can get in your gel coat. And then we've got the Mirka Abranet 1000 today. So this boat is just lightly oxidized. It is a Grady White, so you know these gel coats come back almost perfectly. So just a light sanding today, knock off that top layer of oxidation. And what really makes dry sanding different than wet sanding is, it's a harder visual. So when you're wet sanding, you're able to see the oxidation coming off as you're sanding and as you're rinsing off that section. But when you dry sand, it really just goes from a dull surface to kind of like a dull shine. You've got your high and low spots in here, so it's a lot different of a visual, but what I recommend is you do about 6 to 8 passes, take it nice and slow, really cut out that oxidation, and then move on. And you'll see, guys, it's going to be a huge transformation in the buffing process, and it'll look really good. I'm going to show you guys what it's all about right now. Another beautiful day in Cape Coral, Florida, near Cape Harbor Marina, and we are getting started on the bow of this Grady White. Some people are going to say they don't like Grady White gel coats. Me, on the other hand, I think they're amazing. They're super easy to restore, and they hold up for a long time when you put sealants on them, when you put ceramics on them. So I love Grady Whites, and we're going to be talking all about this today, and that starts with the sanding process. As I mentioned, we are trying something new today. So we are dry sanding, which we have never done before, but we've been hearing all these great reasons to try it from a bunch of people. So it cuts deeper, it's more efficient, level R can pull 1000, blah blah blah. So we went ahead and decided, why not try this on a 1% detail? So that's exactly what we're doing today. And then you're gonna see, I'm gonna kind of yell at Quentin for a minute because he's sanding in circles. You do not want to sand in circles. You sand horizontal or vertical. That's how you do proper sanding, so don't ever do that. But yeah, just notice how I'm taking it nice and slow. We will encounter, I don't know if it's on the videos, but we will encounter a couple challenges which we'll discuss, and that's what happens when you try new things. But overall, it still turned out great, and we got a little bit to work on, to improve on, and we'll talk about what I would have done differently and how we're going to do it moving forward. So stay tuned for the video. Going to be super exciting today. Let's continue. Now, the proper way to dry sand is, first of all, you got to have a good machine. So whether that's the Rubez 21, which would be the long throw polisher, we have the Rubez 15, which is still a pretty good option. And then also you've got orbitals. I really do like the Rubez for dry sanding. I just feel like it's a more consistent machine. But if you got, a Griot's G21, a Max Shine, I'm not trying to break your bank accounts. So whatever you got, use it. Also, the Mirka sander is incredible for dry sanding. Now, once you got your machine, you have to have an interface pad. So Mirka makes the interface pad. Get the interface pad that's going to provide the cushion between your backing plate of your polisher, which is super hard and durable, and your disc. So you need that cushion in case you tilt a little bit. Nobody's perfect. Want to have the interface pad. And then you're going to want to pick out your grit. This, we're just dealing with surface level oxidation. So we decided on Abranet 1000. We heard that Stark Level R could easily pull it, and we'll also talk about that. By the way, all of the products we discussed today will be in the links in the description below, so you can check out any products we talk about today. Also, keep in mind I am running the polisher around speed 4 to 5, so a good speed and average speed. We don't want it too slow and we don't want it super fast, but realize that dry sanding does cut faster than wet sanding. So if you've been wet sanding in the past, or you have wet sanded in the past, or know anything about wet sanding, is the water is kind of used as lubrication and it kind of glides over the gel coat. It doesn't cut as quickly as dry sanding. So dry sanding, you get that quick catch instantly and it's going to cut faster. And yeah, it's going to save you a little time, going to cut a little deeper. Now, how did I decide to go with 1,000? Well, basically the Grady White just had some surface level oxidation. It had been, the client said it had been ceramic coated in the past. So the ceramic was probably coming off. It's starting to oxidize again, but it was still in the early stages. Just wanted to kind of knock it down so we could get a good buff, good polish, and redo the ceramic coating process with ceramic DNA, which we think would be a much better solution than what the boat currently had. And the results were outstanding, so you're gonna have to wait around to see that. You know, I think it's important to kind of keep a nice, steady, slow pace. Like I said, 6 to 8 passes. The visuals are a lot different on dry sanding, so 6 to 8 passes. What's gonna happen is that surface, you know, when it's oxidized, it's gonna be dull. It's gonna be chalky. Now, as you start to sand, it's gonna kind of shine up because you're removing the oxidation. You're getting back to the fresh gel coat. You're gonna see a shine, but you gotta remember there's still scratches in the gel coat, so it's gonna be kind of dull. It's gonna be shiny but dull. And once you get that smooth, consistent shine dull type look to the gel coat, which usually again takes like 6 to 8 passes, slow, steady, then you can move on to the next section. And then again, you just gotta try it out with the buffing. If you want to do a test spot beforehand, before jumping into the project, then do a test spot, see if that works. Obviously it worked on this one, but like I said, we did run into some challenges, and we might as well discuss that now for those of you just trying this out for yourself. Now, first of all, and I'll try not to go on a rant because this could be an entire video, but it's important we don't judge people's processes because everybody has a different detailing style, and you have to understand that the styles are different for the machines that you're using. So look, if I'm going to be sanding to 1,000 grit dry, which is what we did, then I have to be using something like a Levelar, great, a rotary buffer, but then I have to follow up with a long throw polisher in the Rupes 21. And without that, this process cannot work effectively unless we add more steps. So that's kind of what happened here. Now we are using the Rupes 21 a little more in the business, but we don't quite have it up to this point in the videos that are coming out on the channel. So we're still using the Flex. Now the Flex doesn't really pull scratches like a long throw polisher. So that's why we had to, you know, I don't think this is in the video, but we had to run Levelar, and then we had to actually, instead of going straight to polishing, we had to run the yellow wool on the rotary with Finish R to get that extra scratch removal, and then we came back with the Flex to finish it out. So it went from, you know, a supposed to be 2-step process into a 3-step process because of our sanding style in this video. Now, we could have eliminated doing 3 steps on the buffing and polishing if we would have threw in another round of sanding with 1,000 grit wet. Would have been a good option that would have allowed us to get away with it. So it's very important not to, like I said, judge other people's styles, because depending on how you're sanding and what machines you're using to buff and polish, that can change your strategy. And that's what I would change from this, is we can't quite finish with 1,000 grit dry and get away with 2 steps on the buffing and polishing unless we change our machines, which we're starting to do now. So like I said, looking back, what I would do is I would add in 1,000 wet Abralon after 1,000 dry, because the scratches, unfortunately, they're just too big, they're too deep, And Level R, it doesn't really pull as many as I would like and as people kind of say. So that's my experience. We also don't have the Mercus sander, so supposedly the Mercus sander is going to help with that as well, but I don't know for sure. So that's kind of some of the challenges. That's the solution, and that is the sanding process on this boat. In this part, I'm just running a visual for you guys to see what it would look like if you were to dry sand your boat with 1000 Apernet. So this is kind of what it looks like. You can see it's kind of shiny, but it also is dull, and this gets you a good 360 visual. Apparently, I did not film the buffing with Level R or the yellow wool with Finish R, but I did film that on the haul. I at least filmed the buffing. But for now, we're going to jump into polishing, get this top side wrapped up, because that's what we're trying to get done first. We do have the Flex 3401 VRG. This is a machine that's been with me for a long time. You guys know, you guys see it all the time. The orange Lake Country Force pad, one of the best all-time pads with the Flex 3401 VRG. This is a killer combo, awesome shine. You're getting a lot of heat. Gonna take out a decent amount of scratches. So that's what we're doing. We're running this at 4. We're gonna rotate between horizontal and vertical movements, and we're gonna get a killer shine, as you guys are already seeing. Oh, and we are using the new Start Finish R. So this is a little different than Elevate. Elevate is a 1200 grit polish, and Finish R is a 1000 grit polish with more shine. So you're getting a little bit of a deeper cut and higher gloss. So that's what we're using. Finish R has been outstanding for us, and like I said, you guys can see that shine. It's immaculate, and this is our 1% detail, so we go above and beyond. If you guys haven't heard about it, you're going to see this more on the channel, but our 1% detail is our max package. It's our world-class package where we go all out on your boat, and we ceramic coat every single surface, from your glass to your gel coat to your non-skid to your hull. You have options on the bottom of the boat, but your outboard units, cowlings to lower chaps to the props, cockpit, everything gets attention at the highest level. And on average, these will take us about 8 to 10 days to do a complete install on. So that's what's going on here with our 1% detail on this Grady White. You know me, I am always a fan of an applicator. I hate putting product directly on the pad for 2 reasons. Number one, the pad will cake up. It is so obvious to see that whenever I watch somebody doing that. Your pad cakes up, it reduces the cut, it ruins the finish. And then also, when you have the app, you can control the size of the section you want, how much product's going on the area, and if you want, you can actually scrub it in, get it in the pores initially before you even polish it off. So there's way more advantages to using an applicator versus putting it on your pad. I do not understand why people are doing that. It blows my mind, honestly. We're back up on the bow where we initially sanded up here. We got the plug with Stark Yacht Care Remember, guys, use the code topdock15, all caps, to get 15% off of any Stark products. And be sure to try out the new hookup, the finisher that we're using right now, because it's amazing. If it's in stock, be sure to get some. Try it out for yourself. It will blow your mind. Definitely, guys, an elite, world-class product. Nothing will touch finisher at the moment. So we'll see what happens down the road. But this product is just crazy. It'll set you apart, and the results and the cut and the shine and the gloss is outstanding. It's crazy to believe that a polish has a gloss level of like Jessica Ultra Lock, of Triple P, of an actual almost a ceramic coating. So that level of gloss and a polish is mind-blowing. Don't know how they did it, but be sure to check that out in the link below, and we're gonna get this thing polished up. For y'all asking what speed I'm running at, I am running at speed 4, and really on the flex, I don't navigate much differently. So I usually start around 4, maybe 3, and then I finish at 4. So I'm not really changing the speed a whole lot on the flex. Been doing this so long, that just is what works best. Now, this is gonna be one of my last videos of me using the flex, probably for the most part. So yeah, there's new things to come. You guys will have to stay tuned. I don't know, maybe it's the end of an era, but the flex, we're kind of doing away with it. We'll see. Like I said, when you try new things, you got to see if it works better. Great, you move on, you advance. If not, you come back. So we got stuff working down the road for you guys. You'll have to see what we got next. So, but you guys know the flex though has been with me like 2-3 years. It's simple. I got so many videos on the flex, I don't know what to tell you guys. Again, you know, the best pad's gonna be the orange forest pad, maybe the purple foamed wool. Those are really the OG pads with the flex. You know, you got Elevate, you got Manzurna you can run, the new finisher, which is what I recommend now. You got that you can run with it. You're going to stick around 3 to 4, and you're going to polish. It's going to be great. Make sure you cut them scratches down, because, you know, the flex got a lot of shine. However, it's not like a long throw. It does not delete scratches as easily, so you got to do a good job with the buffing. You got to sand down finer with the sanding, and you'll have great results polishing with the flex. But that's going to wrap up the top side. We are going to now jump to the haul, so I'll see you down below. Down to the haul. Now, I did not film the sanding part of the haul, but if you want to know something, I did fall into the water, so I fell off the plank while I was sanding on the other side, on the starboard side of the Grady White. But I dropped my Rupes in there, I fell in the water, fell off the plank, busted my arm up. So real fun day, but now we've got to move on to the buffing, so that's not going to happen again. Definitely not going to be in the water. We are kind of playing around with some buffers. You know, I still like the DeWalt a lot, playing around with Makita a little bit. Makita's very good. It's durable, it's quality, it lasts a long time. I don't know, I just love the price point on the DeWalts. I've been a huge fan of them. Played around a little bit with the Rupes buffer. Interesting buffer, to say the least. Very light as a feather. Just doesn't have all that torque that you'll get with the DeWalt or the Makita. So we're still rolling with the DeWalt. So, you know, we always try to change things up, but we're still rolling with the DeWalt. We still got the... Now, I was using the Buff and Shine wool pad. I was using that quite a bit, and that's still a great pad at a great price point. However, I am slowly transitioning. It seems like I've been using the Lake Country wool for the past month or two. So I do like the Lake Country wool a lot. It seems like it might last a little longer. The wool doesn't shed off as easily, and it's super high quality. Get a great finish. The Stark wool pad. So they came out with their own wool pad. It's a great pad. It's an amazing pad. It's super extremely durable. It might be one of the most durable pads out there. You do have that quick connect, which I do like. However, when I'm exchanging out pads, it could be an inconvenience unless I'm only using Stark. So if I'm already set on only using Stark pads, the adapter piece is great. However, the adapter is not compatible with your Buff and Shine patch or Lake Country. It is a high price point. Maybe we'll use it more in the future, but right now I'm rolling with the Lake Country. So Lake Country has been the go-to pad. We still have Level R. Level R has been great for the longest time ever, and it's still doing its thing. Again, it's a type of compound. Level R will pull 800 grit sanding scratches, so it's a P800 grit compound. It will pull out some lighter oxidation. It's not really recommended for oxidation. My experience, it's just not, it just can't do it. But light oxidation, maybe. Don't want to get into the heavier stuff. You definitely want to sand. But when you guys get a perfect sand and you run Level R, you run the whole Stark system, it's really an awesome compound line, polish line, and you get fantastic results. So we're still sticking with all that stuff. Level R is amazing. They do have Blaze, so Stark Blaze will be coming out here soon. That's going to be a game changer. That will actually pull P600. So that is the type of compound you'll use after sanding rather than Level R. So Level R will still be used for that light oxidation. Stark Blaze will be used after sanding. And we'll see what happens. I'm really excited to see if we can even advance the process even further, get better results, and that's exactly what Stark's about too. So lots of things coming, and we'll see what happens. Now let's dive into the technique. So buffing, look, if I had to rate anything in terms of detailing, buffing is the longest to master, okay? Buffing is an art. There's so many styles to buffing, whereas like polishing is, horizontal, vertical, it's pretty straightforward. Slow movement, stuff like that. Buffing is just not like that. Even with the sanding. So let's go ahead and rate these. So if I had to rate the easiest to the hardest things to do in the detailing world, number one is going to be buffing. Buffing took me the longest. Like, I'm 5 years and I finally feel like I know how to buff. Two, definitely probably going to be wet sanding. You can do a lot of damage with wet sanding and you can do not enough damage. So wet sanding is also pretty kind of challenging. And then you've got polishing, and then you've got waxing coatings. Ceramic would probably fall fourth, and then fifth would be waxing, because waxing is pretty simple. So lots of time and experience required to be good at buffing. There's literally no way around it. I can't sit here and teach you how to buff. You'd have to get hundreds of hours of buffing to even become somewhat decent at it, and that's just the reality. So I do have an ebook called Total Restoration, which will help you get the proper buffing technique, but then you got to get out there and get the reps. You guys are probably like, dang, you're already coding? Well, we are. Now let's go ahead and talk about everything that happened between the time we started until the time we got to this point. So the first thing that you want to do, now this is a 1% detail, so it's extremely thorough and super high attention to detail, but we come out, we strip wash the boat down. That removes any dust particles, any salt on the boat, because when we sand, we don't want to sand salt or sand dirt particles back into the gel coat and create extra scratches. So we come out, we strip wash the boat down, then we sand the boat. And then after we sand the boat, we buff the boat with compound. And then we ran the yellow wool with Finish R. And then we came back and ran the flex with Finish R again with the orange Lake Country pad. Now we did that to the entire boat. So you've got the top side, the hard top, the hull, the cockpit. And we did the outboard units, which we did not show on here. And then after all that prep was done, we did a super thorough, probably about a 5-hour wash down on this Grady White to get it all prepped up. And then we did an alcohol surface prep on the hull, and that is where we lead up to right now of ceramic coating. So we're probably on day 7 of this boat, just two of us, me and Quentin, working on this, and we are applying the ceramic DNA system, their DNX coating for extreme durability on the hull. So let's go ahead and talk about how to do this. Our plan of attack for this boat, and this will work for any ceramic coating system, is you want to apply 2 coats to any high UV areas on the boat. So in this case, and for any boat, regardless of the setup, is always going to be the hard top. That's probably going to get the most amount of sunlight out of any area on the boat. So that definitely needs 2 coats. You want to hit your gunnel caps and your bow area with 2 coats because that also gets the majority of the sunlight, and then your transom does as well. So all that stuff needs 2 coats. The outboards, in my opinion, is optional. You can do 1 or 2 coats. You have to remember that outboards are paint, so any lighter colors like a white or a gray, I would likely do 1 coat on. On a black, you're getting a lot of heat, a lot of UV, so I'm going to do 2 coats. On the hull, another one where you can kind of pick and choose. Typically, I will do 2 coats on the hull. If you have a really good ceramic, you might be able to get away with 1 coat. It just depends on your hull color. So on a white, again, maybe 1 is okay. 2 to be sure. Any color is 100%. You're going to want to get 2 coats on. Now you have to remember, every time you are adding an extra layer of ceramic, you're adding a finite mil level thickness to your gel coat. So from the factory, now it might be a little thinner nowadays, but on average 20 to 25 mils is what the thickness of your gel coat is coming from the factory. Now a ceramic coating, I believe, don't quote me on this, but it runs about 0.2 of a mil thickness onto your gel coat. So it's very finite, but it does add a little bit. So every coat you add on top of that will add just a little more thickness to your gel coat. And that's also why ceramics don't last forever. People want to think, or they want to say they last 5 years, but that's just not the case. Even the absolute best ceramics out there, ceramic DNA or even ceramic pro, they just don't last that long because you're adding a finite level of thickness to your gel. And really 2 coats is where you kind of top off. Ceramic likes to bond to a substrate like gel coat or paint, but not to itself. So this is not a 7 mil film, this is not a PPF. That's a whole different system, and that is something that could actually last for a while and be a better solution. But ceramic's not like that. It's just a reality, and if you do all the maintenance and you service the boat at the right times, you will find ceramic to be the best system when it comes to any sort of protection coating liquid that you could put on your boat. So it's an awesome system. We love it, and that's why we have our 1% detail. Now I'm sure you guys are interested in learning how to ceramic coat, so we will talk about that right now. First, notice how I have those tape markers on the gel coat. When you're working on a big haul like this, it's hard to keep track of where you're at, and you do not want to miss a single inch or a single section of coating onto the boat, on any part of the boat. So the tape helps guide us as markers. There's the DNX coating, the ceramic DNA, stuff's immaculate. You'll easily find if you use this coating. Yes, it is a little hard to work with, and some people knock that. I think it's ridiculous because I am looking for the highest durability, and that's exactly what you're getting with ceramic DNA DNX coating. So that's why we choose that one, and I love it. It's awesome, and it's reached higher and better results for us with our clients, especially in South Florida. It's brutal down here. If this stuff can last 12 to 18 months, I cannot imagine how long it could last somewhere else. So when we coat, we want to do vertical and horizontal patterns. So you can see that's what I'm doing here, up and down. Make sure you get the whole thing, and then you want to come back horizontal. You want to cross-link it because you don't want to have streaks in one direction. So when you go vertical and horizontal, you kind of even that out. You have an endless limit of what you could do with the coating. Some people like to circle it. That's okay, but make sure your gel coat is flawless, because if you guys do not have your gel coat flawless, if you do circles, if you do not get all the coating out when you're wiping off, you're going to see little circles in the gel. So just make sure you're dialed in on what you're doing when you're wiping, when you're preparing the surface, because stuff like that will show. So I just like to do horizontal, vertical, keep it easy, and then I'll come back. Now this is an instant wipe off, so you put it on. We did a pretty large section, maybe 3 by 3 feet, and you're gonna come wipe it right off. 1 towel, 2 towels, 3 towels if you want, but make sure you get all that coating off of there, all the excess. And that's the ceramic. It will bond super fast. It will really bond initially. Once it's on the gel coat, the solvents will evaporate. That coating is going into the gel coat. So get it all off, wipe it all off completely, and that's how you do any ceramic coating system. The flash time will change on different coating brands. The flash time is the time that you put the coating on the boat to the time that is required to remove the coating. DNX is pretty much an instant removal. You got Stark Repel Pro, that's about 60 seconds. You've got Liquid Kraken, which could be 3 to 5 minutes. You got Liquid Thor, which could be 10 to 15. So different flash times. Know what you're using, know what you're getting into, know how to stack different products. If you're using other coating systems, DNX is just a 2-coat system. You use the same product for the first coat, same product for the second coat. Very simple and effective. Guys, hope this video was helpful. If it was, be sure to smash that like button. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you haven't subscribed, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button now. We are trying to create the best community, the most educational and exclusive information in the boat detailing world on YouTube. So follow me, support what we're doing. Be sure to check out the new ebook, Total Restoration. It's a full boat detailing guide from start to finish, how to wet sand all the way to how to ceramic coat your boat start to finish. Awesome techniques, awesome guidelines for you guys to get started and then go out there and execute. Be sure to check out 1%detail.com. That's where you can purchase Total Restoration, and that's where we have all the best products in one location for easy access. You can access any of the top quality brands from Amazon on there, and you can access all of our partners, Yacht Stick, Ceramic DNA, and Stark Yacht Care. Be sure to use our codes TOPDOC15 for 15% off on all products with Stark and Ceramic DNA. For Yacht Stick, use our code TOPDOC10, all caps, to get free shipping on any Yacht Stick purchases. And that will be a wrap to the video. I will see you on the next one. Peace out.